Welcome back to the Ceres podcast. In today's episode, Mark Petrou is joined by Shane Lee from J. Henry's, along with his two sons, John Henry, the namesake of the business, and Sonny Lee. For a while now, we've been asking listeners if they'd like to join us on the Ceres podcast. Sonny reached out, he had a great chat with Mark, and together they made this episode happen. I recently met the clan of J. Henry's at the Fish and Chip Awards in London, and I have to say I was pretty impressed. We were at the bar, they were all surrounding me, and we had a good laugh. And they struck me as a genuinely lovely family. Running a family business isn't always easy, I know, because I've been there, but these guys have really seemed to have found the balance, and above all, they clearly love each other and love working with each other. They're an innovative bunch too, so much so that they invented the Lee Lifter, a fish scoop designed to reduce damage when lifting battered fish from the hot box. We hope to be helping them in the future. We've helped them in the past and we'll help them again. But I quite like these guys, and they're always happy, go lucky, and plugging away, trying to do a decent job. And you know what? You can't fault anybody for trying to do that. At Ceres, we're always working on something special. Our powerful suite of business calculators are designed to help you break down costs and boost profits. The fact is, if you don't know your numbers, you're flying blind. These calculators give you a clear picture of your finances so you know exactly what's going on with your money and your stock. With all the fluctuations in fish prices right now, there is really no better time to know your numbers. Visit ceres.shop/calculators and take control of your business today, and keep your eyes peeled because there are new calculators coming. And speaking of absolute game changers, today's episode is brought to you by Ceres Predus number 2. Do you want your battered fish to be at the next level? Predus number 2 is your secret weapon. Using Predus number 2 will 1. Maximise your oil life, massively reducing oil degradation and saving you money. Number 2, it ensures the perfect batter adhesion so every bite is crispy and consistent. And number 3, seasoned from the inside out with a flavour enhancing blend including Madagascar white pepper. So, if you're ready to boost your fried battered fish, get next day delivery at ceres.shop and just search Predus number 2. Do you want exclusive industry insights and special offers? Join our mailing list. The link will be in the show notes. Alright, let's get into today's episode. Here's Mark's conversation with Shane, John Henry and Sonny from J. Henry's.
Welcome, guys. It's really good to have all three of you here. Got Dad Shane, John Henry, the oldest son.
Hello, Mark. Doing, mate? Thanks for inviting me on. Looking forward to it.
It's good to have you here as well. And Sonny, you're doing all the digital stuff. I really want to dive deep into that as well. It's good to have you here as well.
Yeah, thanks for having us on. We finally managed to get it going.
To make it happen.
Get it together.
Yeah, so I saw you, and we've chatted briefly before, and we met actually a really, really long time ago, and then we didn't speak for like 30 years, and we caught up finally at the awards. You were up for a gong, weren't you, Sonny? It was the digital marketing.
Yeah, James was up for the Digital Marketing Awards. Obviously, just missed out this year, but it was first time that James has been up for a national award in its 37-year history of the shop. So we was proud to get it that far. So hopefully next year we can go one better. Which category we're not quite sure yet, but we'll be going in for a couple, I'm sure.
You made a big impression at the awards for me because there was like this big group of guys going around. I thought you was stealing people's dinner money or something because you looked like Italian mafia. How many
Yeah,
were
we had
there?
a couple of more supporters. Well, it was us three, and then my brother's best mate Richard.
Yeah, a friend of mine, Richard Butlin.
Michael,
one of my dad's
Nick. Best mate Nick. So 6 of us all in all.
Oh right, you're all looking really dapper as well. I thought.
Obviously, our business partner Mike Isaac as well. He was there.
So
all of us
just missed out, but we had a couple of good days, and it's good. It's really good to put names to faces. You meet a lot of people, catch up with a lot of people. Caught up with Fred, Bell, loads of others, didn't we? Yeah.
Yeah, well, we'll talk about the digital marketing in a bit, if that's okay. I just want to put you on the back burner for a while, and John, I really want to talk to you. Obviously, your name's above the door as well. At J Henry's, and I want to dive deep into your story a bit as well. But first of all, we've got to start. We've got to start with Dad. Shane, you've been working J Henry's since 1988. Is that like 37 years? You've been actually there, is that right?
1988 in business, but my first job in the chip shop was I was 14. That was 1979. Let's
go back before that. Just tell me a bit about your early life and how you fell into fish and chips, and then take us on your journey. I might interrupt you because I will want to know what equipment you were frying on and stuff like that. And I really...
Yeah, growing up, I mean, my mum and dad separated. I was quite young, I was about age 7, and I went with my mum first of all. It didn't work out, so I went back with my dad, which was quite unusual for the father to bring the child up, And my dad was a long-distance lorry driver, so I had to sort of grow up sort of pretty quick, at sort of age 7 or 8 year old.
That's tough.
Yeah, it was tough. But I don't know, I always had this... I could always knew, or hunger, I suppose, to get money or whatever growing up. So I'd done the paper round, the milk round, doing all that. And then my mate at school, when we was 14, he had a job at the chip shop. So I started picking his brains if they got any jobs going. Anyway, he arranged for, I think it was a Friday lunchtime. So we went down to the local chip shop. We bunked off of school, actually. There's 3 of us. Me and one of my mates already worked there, and me and my other mate was going with him. We both wanted a job. So the guy gave us the job, give us the starting dates, the manager at the time, and then some teachers see us down the high street, and we should have been at school. So they,
oh dear.
Yeah, so we should have been at school at the time when we was bunking off. So they said, when you get back, you've got to go to the head of year. So he goes to the head of year. And, you've all been playing truant, whatever. So you know what the punishment is for that? So my mate who was in the chip shop, I thought, please keep quiet, don't say anything. And it was corporal punishment then at the time.
What, like the slipper or the cane? The cane. Like
so my mate thought, keep quiet. He pipes up and says, the cane, sir. So then 3 of us bent over the chair and I can't remember if it was on the hand because I had it twice at school. Whether it was on the hand or on the arse light, So that was the funny story, getting the job. And then, 45 years later...
You still hadn't sat down, had you?
No. I wish I'd known what he was going to say. I could have put a magazine down my trousers or something, do you know what I mean? But no, so that's how the journey began, just as a spud boy. And them sort of days, my boss then, you used to open late, there was late trade them days. 11 o'clock, I think it was, 11:30 Fridays and Saturdays. Started there and worked my way up, really, just doing, spud boy, working in the evening, Saturday lunches. And then I got to about 16, and I think they asked if I wanted to start frying on a Sunday evening. So
it's Sunday evening a little bit quieter.
Yeah, a little bit quieter. No one wanted to do it, I think, because a bit like me now, I'd rather do it as you get older. When I was younger, I wanted my Saturday nights off. But as you get older, I don't mind working Saturday, and I like having my Sunday off. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah. So no one wanted to do it. So I was the young lad, and I was quite happy because I got the Saturday evenings off, sort of 16, and then just done the Sunday evenings frying and that, and then just sort of put it out there that I was interested in a full-time job when I left school. And left school with no exams. I was sort of educated. I was switched on, but I never took exams and all that, I was never going to go to college and university. I just wanted to work and earn money,
Yeah, so you were more sort of ambitious and prepared to graft than academic and sort of you knew that you was going to be a grafter rather than a brain.
No, that's right, exactly. And then I don't think the job was available, and I think my dad knew. Again, up the pub, he used to go. He liked to drink. He met somebody up there that had a fencing firm, so he said, "Oh, he's got a job for you, Monday to Friday." So, because the fish and chips wasn't ready full time, I used to do fencing Monday to Friday, and then do my fish and chips in the evening. And I remember getting at work at 7:30 on a Friday morning, and then they dropped me off at 4:30 outside the chip shop. And then I'd go around the back, get out of my creosoted overalls and all that, have a wash and brush up, and then get into the uniform to start an evening shift till 11:30 in the chip shop, And
fencing's not light work. I mean, if you're digging out post holes, that's back-breaking stuff. To go and do that during the day, and then it doesn't matter if you're putting up panels or featherboarding. It's that's serious graft. You're doing a lot of lugging about.
No, that's right. That's right. And then the job did eventually come. So I'd knock the fencing on the head, and then became sort of full time in the chip shop, doing 4 days a week. I think I was like assistant manager or trainee assistant manager, whatever they wanted to call it. And that was how the journey began, really. Now
this was in North London, in near Heathrow.
West London near Heathrow.
Yeah.
Place called Ashford is where I started. Ashford, Middlesex. Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. So, how long were you doing that? Where does Beverley come in, and you starting a family, and then you sort of get the offer of a shop for yourself?
Well, Beverley. Basically, my mate came in one Saturday and he said, "Oh, we're going to go down and see these two girls down the coast." And he was planning to see Beverley, and I was going on a blind date with her mate. So I said, "Yeah, I can come." I said, "But I've got to be back tomorrow for work for the Sunday." So he said, "Yeah, that's all right. We'll be back." Anyway, we goes down to the coast. Beverley's parents had a caravan down there on a site. I think it was Bracklesham Bay near West Witterings and all that,
Yeah.
So. He was with Beverley and I was with her mate, but I liked Beverley and not her mate. So after that, we sort of started.
Where did you hide his body?
Yeah, that's yet to be revealed. But them pillars, supporting the what is it, the chicken flyover or whatever.
Yeah.
No. He's moved on and he's all right. But that's how it started, and so I started seeing Beverley. And then what happened was a flat became available above the shop. Again, I was so at the time I think I started seeing Beverley. I was 17. Started seeing Beverley.
And she's older than you, isn't she? You're a toy boy, are you?
She's about 18 months, something like that. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Not massive, but a little bit older. Yeah. So a flat became available, but so my boss, I think as part of the deal, he used to sort of come and pick you up at the end of the shift, and drop you home if you didn't have transport. I was only 17. I don't think I was dropped. Or Beverley might have had my car actually, and she forgot of the time. She didn't come and pick me up. So he was always on the hurry up. My boss, obviously, he just wanted to get home, get me dropped off. So I'm trying to explain that I've moved. I'm not in Ashford anymore. So that's all right. Wait, get in the car. Tell me on the way. So anyway, he said, "Where am I going?" I said, "Isleworth." So we're going about 25, 30 minutes in the opposite direction from where he lives. Do you know what I mean? So on the journey, I asked about this flat. I said, "Oh, any chance of that flat upstairs, for me and my girlfriend?" He said, "Oh, let me have a think about it." Anyway, he gets to Isleworth 25, 30 minutes later. He says, "I thought about that flat." I said, "Yeah, He said, "You can have it." So,
he's not doing that journey more.
Well, exactly, because I think he had about 45, 50 minutes to get back to his house where he lived. Do you know what I mean? So it done me a favour, really, not picking me up or for whatever reason, whatever happened. And then we got this lovely big flat above the shop. And then he said, "Yeah, that's fine. Whatever you do, be sensible. Don't get her pregnant." I think his advice was. And then I got to 18 and 3 days. I didn't take no notice of him, and my son John Emery was born. So again, 3 days after my 18th birthday. So again, it's you've got to grow up quick. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Now I've brought a child into the world, you know.
Yeah.
So we had some real good times, but we couldn't afford to buy any sort of property in that area. My wages wasn't brilliant because you got the accommodation in with the job. Do you know what I mean? So to put a roof over your head, was good, and I think it was rent free, and then it was adjusted with your salary, sort of thing. So he was doing these partnerships. So as I got old, I got to sort of in the early 20s, and he was doing these partnerships. So I sort of let it be known that I was interested. And it was him really that sort of set me up. Went into partnership with him and bought our first shop in 1988 together. We was partner for a few years, and then I bought him out, and then took over the business on my own. You know.
Okay, and is this Arthur King?
It is, yeah.
Because Arthur King was put together the Jack's brand of shops, which. I understand from you that they weren't originally called Jack's.
No.
But chains of chip shops were quite rare back then, weren't they?
No, exactly.
I mean, everybody knows of Harry Ramsden's being around, but there weren't many chains of shops. They were all sort of single sites.
That's right.
But I have met one or two other people that have worked in Jack's branded shops before.
Yeah.
But not anyone who's been there from the from the start.
Yeah.
What sort of kit were you frying on back then, and what was it like working in part of a chain? Were you all expected to produce similar fish and chips, or did you all have different menus?
I think Arthur at the time done the buying because he had a big walk-in freezer at the Egham branch, and I think he had a guy that used to go around with a pickup truck or used to give the order to him that this guy worked for him, and it all got distributed to the Egham branch, and then you bought it. You know, he delivered it. You ring up what you want, and then you delivered it to yourself. You know, frying wise, I was on a 4-pan which one of my shops has still got a P&T today, but a 4-pan Island P&T, but very traditional. Arthur was very successful, clean premises, and we've sort of carried that on. You know, clean premises. Good customer service, simple menu, don't complicate things. Because again, like when you're 6, you put a fryer in there on a Sunday evening at 16. We've been doing the same ever since, really. You know, you don't want to complicate things. Let them concentrate on decent fish and chips, you know. So, he had that. And, we've sort of, so it all used to come from one place, the actual fish. And fresh weekends. How many stone of haddock or place do you want? You know, that sort of thing. We used to do a bit of fresh then weekends. But we did have a 50-seater restaurant. He had some restaurants and takeaways next to each other. Not all of them, but he had 2 or 3 sites like that. And he had some takeaways as well.
Okay, so when you ran it like one of Arthur King's shops, did you all learn how to do it, Arthur King's way?
You basically, from the manager and assistant manager, really, however they'd been taught, you just sort of learn it from them. Do you know what I mean? Whatever they was doing, he never sort of got hands on with me or anything like that. It's just, you was always wary when he'd come in at different times. So you was always sort of, you never knew when Arthur was going to appear. So it sort of kept you on your game type thing. Do you know what I mean? You didn't want to be sitting out the back I'm the non-smoker or smoking or whatever. But, you want to be behind the reins where you should be in the shop. Don't take liberties. And especially, it was a great idea, the partnership idea, because I think it's sort of dangling the carrot. Do you know what I mean? Because you weren't going to give it to some sort of lazy person, whatever, who couldn't give a shit sort of thing, hard working. Yeah. But I think he could see that. He'd come in the shop early mornings and see how you'd left or I think we had safes in them days. He'd come and collect the money early in the morning, say. But he'd have a little nose round the shop and see how you'd left the shop the night before. Have you cleaned up? Have you done this? All them sort of things, But, you never knew when he was going to appear. And, when I thought about, I got the chance here, just through hard work to get out there and have a chance to get my own business. So I thought I wanted to be successful,
He let you do most of the work on some sort of partnership basis.
Yeah.
He controlled the stock and made sure that the quality was worthy of the name. And then you kind of worked out the money between you, whatever your arrangement was.
Yeah.
And that kind of worked because I know that Jack's had, it did very well. And Jack's shops always had a decent reputation. I never heard anything bad about them. It's just unusual to find a chain of shops growing the way that it did. at the time, because I guess having control of so many shops, there must have been challenges with that, but it worked out for you.
That's right.
And he gave you your first chance at having your own shop down in Southampton.
He did, yeah. 1988, took over that. I've come down with 2 small children, saved up. You could get a bit more for your money down here. It was only about an hour away. Our first shop in Hedge End, about an hour away from where we lived. Saved up a deposit to put on our first house, me and Beverly, and come down with John Emery, who was 4, and I had my daughter Ellie. Ellie, she was 2. So come down with 2 small children. Bought our first house and took over the first shop, and only had one shop. I mean, my intentions were never to get 6 fish and chip shops. I come down here and just wanted to concentrate on one, just try and get a decent living out of it, look after my wife and family. And we had one shop. We didn't have the second shop for 11 years. We had one shop, but it was only about half a mile down the road. And what I always say to people, like, don't be nasty towards other shops or whatever. Like, I used to lend her a bit of stock. We was wrapping up at the time then with the white offcuts, Oh, Shane, if you got any chance I can borrow some offcuts? I said, yeah, it's fine, And I think I happened to mention, I said, look, if you ever want to sell your shop, give us a ring. And out the blue one, I think my dad was frying. A few years went by, and he said, she said, I don't know whether Shane was being serious, but here's my phone number. We want to retire. He can have first offer. So I rung her up, made arrangements to go and meet her on a Sunday morning, and ended up hence buying the second shop just through building up a relationship, through lending her stock and that, So it's nice to be nice, to people, really.
Yeah, I say that too, and that isn't just about the one local shop to you though, because I know that you were active, because how we met the first time, you were active for Area 10, the southern area, for the National Federation of Fish Fryers, and used to put dues on and stuff like that. So I know from history that you weren't just running a chip shop to provide for your family. You're actually being part of the frying community.
Yeah, that's then. Right. Yeah,
which is, it says a lot about your character. That way back then, the federation was structured differently to how it is now. There were local branches and there were local meetings, and I think that's why fish and chips even today is such a great industry to be in. We do still help each other out, but you were there when it was actually, face to face, having meetings, having dinner dances and stuff like that.
Yeah, I was done that. We've done about 3 years running. I think we've done the dinner and dances. I think someone put an ad out. A guy that was he was in fish and chips at the time, and I think he put an ad out that he's had a bit of background in entertainment. Is anyone interested in putting on something? And when I met up with him, I said, what sort of response did you get? And he said, you was the only one that, I think, went in the Fish Fryers review at the top. At the top. Yeah. He said, you was the only one that contacted me. So anyway, we met up, and it just stemmed from there. There was 3 good things, and we'd like to get it back on again, me and the boys. But you've got so much round us and work and different things. It's difficult.
Sonny, did you want to say?
Yeah, no, I was just going to say. I know you mentioned, Dad. You obviously you started with your fencing job to start with, but you missed out your milkman round as well that you used to do, your other job.
We milk days. So what would I have been then? I suppose 12 or 13. Again, that was a friend of me dad's up the pub, Dennis the Menace, I think they called him. Dennis, he'll give you a job. It used to pick me up again. I say about you get what it's like, Mark, with staff and that today, and they don't come on the bloody games, PlayStation. We have them now, 16, 18-year-old. They don't even want to answer the phone. They've never answered a household phone. Some of these people. The phone rings and it frightens the life out of them. But at that age, at 12 or whatever, I was getting picked up at 4:30 in the morning, and I think it was £2 for a Saturday and £1 for a Sunday. But anyway, I thought I'd be clever one day, and the milk. I thought I was down a cul-de-sac road, and I thought I'll spin the milk float round. Why he's gone delivering his milk or collecting the money, the milkman. Anyway, them days you had the big leather sort of satchel over your shoulder with all your change in it and all the rest of it, and that was on the bench seat next to me. So as I'm turning the float round, that falls on the floor. Change goes everywhere. So while I'm looking down at that, I've crashed the milk float up a great big curb and straight into someone's fence. And absolutely shitting myself because I'm 12 or 13. I shouldn't have been like driving it or whatever. But again, all funny sort of stories and, you know, things like that. It's just great, really, you know, to tell.
It's all part of the learning process, isn't it?
Yeah. But that was a funny one. All the crates come off when I hit the big eye curb, the milk glass, and all the rest of it was all over the floor. But lucky enough, I didn't damage no cars or no one was injured, you know. But and got away with it, to tell.
There's no point in crying over spilt milk.
Nah. Excuse the punner.
Yeah.
But
that's brilliant. That's brilliant.
So that
did your fencing skills come into?
Yeah, luckily you know.
You can't repair it for nothing.
I was too young then, wasn't I? I weren't fencing until later.
Oh no, you weren't.
Could have done with it, yeah. Dear. Repair the gate.
Yeah, could have.
Repair the gate post.
Could have done with that skill.
Yeah.
The second shop came along.
Yeah.
You carried on making children, didn't you?
I did. I had a bit of a break. I think so. A 9-year gap, I think it was. And then I had Sonny. Sonny was born. And then a couple of years later, my youngest daughter, Charlotte. So all involved in fish and chips. As it happens, Charlotte's married someone who's he's not one of my shops, but he's got a fish and chip shop in Southampton. That's my youngest daughter. Ellie and her husband, my other daughter, they run another shop for us. Again, the focus with all the publicity we had was, I think we got about 11 family members on the payroll, you know. So, and that's what all these national things, they jumped on it and took photographs. We was in 5 national newspapers, GB News, Sky News. I think we won a local award for something. Sonny sent the
editorial and videos.
Yeah, the editorial and that said it. And then all of a sudden, like, they just sort of jumped on it, and it wasn't nothing to do with the family members to start with, was it? And then the nationals and that all picked up. Yeah, 5 national newspapers, and that's it was brilliant how it all sort of went mad last year for us. But so 4 children, 10 grandchildren now. The grandkids of some of them are now in the shop. I think we've got 4 or 5 working for us, grandkids, all on the payroll.
So there's 11 family members in
total. Probably more, but right? 11 actually.
You went through it the other day. I think we made it about 13 now, son, didn't we?
Yeah, because you've got Bonnie and Chris 13 as well.
My youngest, Bonnie, she's only 9. She comes in with me Saturday mornings now on the till, serves.
Yeah, we got plenty of servers, plenty of girls, not many boys at the minute. So we could do with probably be my youngest daughter now, producing some. She's got 1 little boy, and we got Brooke as well, who works for us. But I said, we need some more fish fryers. You know, we're okay for servers, but produce some more fish fryers. But now her husband's got a shop, so it'd be we'd be fighting over who he's working for or whatever.
You're up to 6 shops now. You've got J Henry's, which is obviously the one that's probably the most prominent in the awards arena because you're up for a gong this year. You've also got Sonny's, Codfather, Best Fry, Finest Fish and Chips.
That's correct.
Yes, is that right?
Yeah.
You chose to not all brand them the same. Was there a conscious decision behind that, or is it as you've picked them up, you've not wanted to change their identities?
A couple of reasons. The first one, like I say, through lending the ladies stock. So we bought the second shop. It was about half a mile up the road. I was a bit weary about, am I just going to split my trade and double the costs here? Do you know what I mean? That's what I was a bit conscious of. And also, there's a couple of reasons. Where it was so close, people get sort of ever so funny if, he's buying this, he's buying that, and they resent it. Some people resent you. Do you know what I mean? And they don't want to use your shop. That was one sort of thinking behind it. And the other thing was, if they get a bad experience in one, you know, you go to a harvester or whatever, you get a bad or a hungry horse, you get a bad experience and you think, I'm not going to go to harvesters or I'm not going to go to hungry horses. So that was the other reason. Yeah. And the beauty we've had in the area is just, I've been here 37 years and they're still building now. Like they just hasn't stopped growing, you know. It's growing so it can handle the two chip shops that are here. The next one, which I was going to say, I think we bought a number plate, John. Before we bought the shop, we bought a number plate that said it said Best Fry. So we thought, if we ever get another shop, we call it Best Fry because we've got the number plate. Do you know what I mean? So we had
a good enough reason.
But also, there was another story behind that. We was buying it off this guy, and normally, if I say I'm going to do something, I never like welching out of a deal. Like if I shook your hand, I'm buying it, and the job's done.
Yeah.
So we're buying this shop, and my wife was sort of, she weren't happy about it. She said, "I don't think you can staff it. I don't think you got enough. John's up there, and you're going to be stretched." So I sort of didn't part with any money, but I pulled out the deal, and the guy sold it to Deep Blue. So when that happened, I thought, I'm never ever going to get that shop. Now Deep Blue have got it.
Yeah.
Anyway, they was there a couple of years, and they ended up selling it back to the guy that bought it, that they sold it to them originally. Then he was umming and ahhing about emigrating with his wife and a young son, and we see it advertised again. And I rung up Robert at Mandans, and I said, "Listen, it's Shane." I said, "Do you think them people are still? I don't want them to think I'm messing them about. Do you think they'll sell me the shop?" And he said, "Shane, they'll sell it to whoever comes, whoever pulls the money up. They'll sell it anyway." And then we
Robert's
ended up
a nice bloke, isn't he?
Yeah,
Lovely fella.
We had a few dealings with Robert,
Yeah.
and then don't like to admit it, but my wife was right, because I think we bought the shop and it was about £90,000 cheaper than what we was paying for it originally. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So again, that was the third one, and then the last one of our shops was named after Sonny, and that's our four main ones. And then we started getting involved in I started with a partnership in my starting fish and chips, so we started doing the same with our staff, and hence the two. But I didn't want to. I said to the boys, "I'll do the finance and I'll earn my money that way," because I said there's no point in having too many fingers in. I'm not a greedy person. Yeah. There's no point in having too many fingers in the pies, because we're not. It's not going to work. Yeah, so I said,
when you've got a good member of staff and they grow within your business, they grow to a sort of size where you're going to lose them, and you want to see them get on because they've given you years of loyalty.
That's right.
So coming up with a partnership, I did the same thing when I had 6 shops, and I probably 3 or 4 of the shops that I sold, I ended up selling to people I knew. And I do like Robert at Mandans. I've used Robert a few times, worked with him, and he's great. He really good. Yeah. But quite often, people coming into fish and chips, they know their way in, but they don't really know what their exit strategy is going to be. If you can take care of a member of staff and actually be on their shoulder as well, and earn from seeing them grow and getting their own site, the way that happened to you nearly 40 years ago, that's a great thing to get into, isn't it?
Exactly.
So exactly. two of your 6 shops are done on that basis, and you still have an influence over them. You're kind of guiding them, and they're also, and you're making it affordable for them to get going, and they're paying you back at the same time.
Yeah. And then the boys become silent partners, and once they pay me back, I'm not involved at all as a shareholder. I just deal with the finance side of it. And like you say, hard-working staff, it's rewarding them, and they haven't got to put no financial, no money, no input money-wise at all, just hard work. And then we just pay whatever you can afford. We set up a direct debit. And again, once I think one of them's near enough, it's going to be this year. It's all going to be done and dusted, Mike's. So then he'll become a 50%. He'll own half the business. Never had to put a penny in. He's been there just over 6 years. And then the boys will be silent partners with him. And, and then we got the other one. But, it's not all, one didn't work through whatever reason. He didn't do it the way we said. I think he resented the boys a little bit because of his age. He was a bit older than John. So that one didn't work. And then we're stuck. They walk away, and we bought this guy a house as well for him and his partner. And then we got a house and a shop that we don't want in an area we don't want to be. But they walk away, and you've got the hassle. You can't close the door. You've got to keep it trading until you can offload it, sort of thing. Yeah. John, so it's not all honey. It's not all honey. But two have been good.
You wanted to come in with something there, mate?
Yeah, I was just going to mention a couple of bits. A bit of a funny story actually about the first partnership, how it come about. So basically, Mike, he worked for us from the age of 14. Started out as a chip boy, serving at the Codfather. Yeah, so about 14 years. Ended up doing sort of 2-3 years with us, serving. Started learning, a little bit of frying as well. And then decided he wanted to leave to try other things, but left on good terms. I think his main sort of goal at that age was he wanted to be a PT coach or whatever, PTing. He liked pubs as well, so he started doing the PT training, and I think he had a job in a pub. Anyway, a couple of years goes by, and this is the time when Sonny's come up. So we'd done the deal on Sonny's, but at the time we'd done the deal, my role was always to go to the next shop to get it up and running, train any existing staff that come with the shop to do it the way we wanted to do it. And I needed an assistant manager. So at the time, didn't have no one lined up for it. And I was like, there's one person I'm thinking of who would be good at that role. And it was Mike Isaac. But at the time, he was working at the Shamblehurst Barn, which was like a Hungry Horse menu, that sort of thing. Yeah. And, goes in there one day, and I'll never forget it. He's walking out the kitchen. He's got plate in each hand, towel over the shoulder. I think someone was trying to make a complaint to him. And I'm there like this, waving my hands, "Here, Mike!" trying to get his attention sort of thing. Calls him over. Said, "I've got a proposition for you." Like, "I'm a bit busy at the minute. What is it? I said, we've got another shop coming up. I think you'll make a great assistant manager. No, I'm doing, I'm here. I'm doing really well. I'm working my way up, blah, blah, blah. I said, "Well, look, have a think about it and give us a call." I think it was that night or the next day I get a text. "Yeah, any chance of meeting up for a chat? I've been thinking about it. I think I could go for that." So he meets up. Yeah, he takes the position as the assistant manager. Was there sort of a year or two, works his way up, manager. And then and that's how it went from there. Then the Mike shop come up. And we're people of our word. We promised him a shop if he come back with us as a manager. He put his 2 or 3 years in. And like Dad said, he's our first successful partner. This year his loan would be paid. I think it's took him about 4.5 years to pay it off. He's 30 years old?
He was a year above me at school, yeah. So yeah,
he's 31, and it's one of our busiest sites, to be honest with you. And he's 50% owner, and he's never had to put a penny in.
That's great.
So for us going in that pub that day to sort of headhunt him down, it's just funny how things turn out.
I'm always mindful whenever I do a podcast that I want to get content that's useful to the listener. I want the listener to take something away from it, and as I said just a few minutes ago, everybody knows their way into fish and chips, but not everybody's got figured out how they're going to get out. And straight sales, they don't all. No sale is straightforward. There's no blueprint for a straight sale these days. And working with somebody like Robert at Mandan's, it improves your chances of getting something over the line. But coming up with something like a partnership or working with someone, taking your money out of the business and taking your physical contribution out of the business gradually allows you to exit over a period of time, and it can really work. I've used the method several times, and a lot of people right now are thinking, how long am I going to do this business for? And I guess you've got that generational thing built in because you're a family business. You've got generations coming through that are going to keep running your business, but you've also been able to start this partnership thing, which allows you to step back a bit as well. Because Shane, let's be honest, you're not a spring chicken anymore. You've got fish and chips is quite a young man's game. So I'm going to ask you a question, and then I want to go on to John a little bit. The question is, have you had the conversation yet, or have you ever needed to have the conversation where the boys have said, "Dad, we're not the boss's son anymore. You're the boss's dad," and it's time to step back. Is that something that you've talked about? You're talking about, or because the boys aren't shaking their hands at me like, "Oh yeah," have you ever had that difficult conversation? I had to have it with my dad, who's sadly no longer with us. But I remember clearly the day I said to him, go and sit on a fucking beach.
Yeah.
It's my time now.
Yeah.
Where are you where are you at with it?
Well, we've never really had the conversation, but we've got a few different limited companies, and the boys are involved as directors, so it's not all sort of me. Do you know what I mean? And they're working for me. They're actually they're directors in their own rights.
They're working with you rather than for you.
So we treat it as father and son, but also we're business partners. We go and have a game of golf together. And we, it's brilliant. We have a great relationship. Very rarely, I don't even remember, never really fell out over business.
Because your dad did shifts, didn't he, Henry? He did shifts in the Chippy as well.
Yeah, he come and joined me, give up the lorry driving quite a few years. He done, and he was a great help to me. Do you know what I mean? And that's what helped us grow, really, because John was just about leaving school. So when the second shop come up, I put my dad down there with John about 16, and he was running it with my dad. But he was a great help and helped us build the business for many years. You know what I mean? I did say to Arthur, my dad's interested in the job. And at the time, he said, that won't work. It don't work out with families. And he was sort of against the idea. But anyway, I sort of made my own decision and took my dad on, and it did work for us. I'm not saying it works for everybody, but it worked for us. And my dad helped us in a massive way grow the business. He'd give up the lorry driving, and for many years, and I think he was with us. He's still with us. He's moved back to London now. He was frying till like late 70s in the shop. Still used to do a couple of lunches for me Thursday and Friday lunchtime.
That's magical, really, having that sort of relationship. To be working. I enjoyed working with my dad. I mean, I was bred as a slave, to be honest. And I only had to say to him, "Go and sit on a beach once," and that's it. That was it. He was gone. But
no, I mean, I don't want to be there every minute. I still love it. I love it. Fish and chips. Passionate about it. But I'm just do Fridays now and Saturday lunchtime. I mean, Sonny messaged me during the week. Oh, do you want an extra shift this week, Saturday evening? I said, yeah. Someone had booked it off. I said, yeah, that's fine. So the week just gone. I've done all day Friday, all day Saturday. But yeah, I still want to be involved a little bit. But like I say, they're not just sons; they're business partners in their own right. They're directors. So, and I think we've all got the same sort of business faults. You know what I mean? So, have a game of golf. We have a chat. We talk about what we can do, special offers, promotions. And again, the way fish is at the minute, looking at other alternatives, what can we do, what can we bring on? Because although trade's really good, it's obviously margins are getting squeezed, and everyone's feeling it across the country.
John Henry, you were born above a chip shop, so you've got batter in your veins.
Yeah, day one.
Yeah, as soon as you could lift a sack of spuds above your head, you were on the payroll, and you cooked your first bit of fish at 11. Is that
11
right?
years old, yeah. I'm 42 now. I've been doing it sort of over 30 years.
Yeah.
Day I was brought home from the hospital. Mum and Dad, as he said earlier, was living in the flat above the chip shop. So, yeah, from day one, I had fish and chips around me,
So you learned to fry on a traditional range?
Yeah, on the P&T. I used to do 4 hours on a Saturday morning at £2.25 an hour. I used to get £9 a week. Then I started... going up in the evenings after school, a couple of nights a week, I'd go with my dad. We'd chuck me BMX in the back of the van. So I'd go in at R4 with my dad, do a couple of bags of spuds, anything else he needed doing. Then I'd ride home on my BMX about 6:30, a couple of hours after school. That's all I knew I wanted to do. Yeah. Again, none of us have got any exams, no qualifications. I was a bit of a naughty boy at school, couldn't concentrate. I knew what I was going to do. And I remember being about 15 and Dad said, look, I've had an opportunity to get the shop up the road. I just want to know if you want to do it with your granddad and run the shop. And I was like 100%.
Yeah.
From a real young age, just thinking about ways of pushing the business forward, expanding the business, the family business. And that was it. I went in at 16, underneath me granddad as assistant manager, and then when he wanted to slow down, I went straight to manager. I was probably about 18, the manager of the Codfather.
You've walked in very similar shoes to your dad in that you got the grounding and the underpinning knowledge through being on the tools before you were left to actually run a site yourself.
Yeah, Yeah, that's it.
You've been involved in the partnerships, is that right?
That's it, yeah. So partnerships, like we said earlier, obviously, first one went amazing, exactly to plan. And we thought, bingo, we got this here. And I remember I kept saying, I want to get to 10 shops. I want to get to 10 shops. So I had the next one lined up, already had the guy working for us. And the same thing, we used Mike as an example. This is what we want to do with you. Obviously, I'm not going to go into names and that. This is your plan. If this is our plan. If you come and work for us, put in 2-3 years, we get you a shop. And as I said earlier, we don't say things and don't do it. If we say we're going to do it, we do it. So he gets this guy his shop, and don't get me wrong, he was a good fish fryer. As soon as we give him the keys to his own shop, we realised very quickly that he weren't a great businessman. We had meeting after meeting, telling him what he was doing wrong. Buying stuff from the wrong suppliers, paying too much money for it, paying too much on wages. Quite at times we said, look, everything's got to be cooked to order. You go over there, Monday, Tuesday lunch, he's got fish in the cabinet. Just like talking to a brick wall. Bought him a house as well because, the commute, they was renting a flat office at the time, and that was a little bit further away from the shop. It's a bit of, don't get much of a lunch break, they kept saying. Next thing, we got them a little place half a mile up the road from the shop.
It's
not a perfect little setup.
Yeah, it's not for everyone, is it? I mean, at the end of the day...
No, exactly. So then...
There's a lot involved in running a fish and chip shop. It's not just about producing good fish and chips. If you have one pan too many on during a quiet shift, you're burning gas, you're wasting oil, and if you're in a partnership with somebody, you have to listen to the experience, you have to listen to the knowledge. Otherwise, it never works. But it can work.
I think where he'd done it for many years before, it was like he thought he knew everything, and obviously clearly he didn't. And it weren't the first shop he'd lost either. He had another shop, someone else, and we had all the bullshit about, oh yeah, he sold it from underneath my feet and this, that and the other, and then we realised, well, maybe the same thing happened. That's why you lost your shop, because you weren't doing as you was told to do, I'm
aware that you've stumbled across another little business thing through the chip shop that's actually really working out well. And I want to talk to, and I'm going to bring Sonny in a few minutes to talk about the digital stuff that he's doing. But you guys have got some great ideas on how to future-proof your businesses, because I've chatted to you prior to recording this. And so I want you to tell me a little bit about the screen advertising that you do, and also your loyalty schemes, because again, for the listener, I think they'll take something away from this. You've got an audience. Your customers are coming into your shop. They're stood in the shop. You've got their attention, and you're using screens, but you've taken it to a whole new level. Just explain to the listener how it came about, because again, I think this is another brilliant idea that.
So basically, what it was, I was just thinking of ways. I wanted to put a screen in the shop to start with. It was just, I want a slideshow with the daily specials on, the lunchtime specials, maybe staff wanted, Christmas opening hours. I thought if I can just get a screen, we can put whatever we want on it, blah, blah, blah. So it puts a screen up. And original idea was, load it onto a USB stick, blah, 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 update it once a week, once a month or whatever. And then I started thinking, well, that's a bit of a ball ache, because every time we want to do it, take this USB out, load it again, back in. It'd be good if we can do it, remotely through the internet. So again, none of us are computer minded, gets on the internet, starts doing a bit of research. Anyway, next thing, I figures out a way to do it all through the internet. I can be sat at home, putting whatever I want on my screen. So I puts a post out, would any businesses like to advertise on there? Literally went mental overnight. Couldn't keep up with the messages coming in. I mean, now at the minute, we've got about 18 businesses on there at £60 a month. That's just on our sites, So next thing, I puts all these screens in all the shops, doing all different packages. We can't really keep up with it. It's absolutely gone, crazy. I'm now getting people contacting me, asking me to put screens in their shops. We just put screens in a local social club, businesses advertising on there. It just was all by accident, really. Like I say, it was just to promote specials. Yeah. And now, it's bringing in sort of 5 figures a year with these business ads on, and it's a great idea. Yeah, really good. It just went really well from day one, and I recommend
brilliant.
it to anyone.
Yeah, I remember a good few years ago going into the local post office, and there was a screen up in there rolled round with local businesses, and I got involved. I started advertising because pensioners, they go and get their pension from the post office, and I thought I'd love to be on that screen myself. But actually, chip shop is a community hub, isn't it? And people coming into your chip shop, you've got them for, you've got their attention. They've got to look at something. I mean, they can look at the fisherman on the Fisherman's Mission collection tub, and they can look at the sooty on the blind collection tub, and there are a few things. You've got one or two posters up on the wall, but to see a rolling screen and to put somebody's advert on that, if you can monetize that, it is money for nothing, isn't it?
Exactly, yeah. I mean, like, what we've noticed as well, people would come in and while they're waiting for their food, they're just looking at their phone all the time. Yeah. Now you see a lot less of that. They're just staring at your screen all the time, So nice pictures of your fish and chips. Yeah, any specials you want to promote, like I say, Christmas opening hours, staff wanted, literally QR codes, whatever you want to put on there, you can do it, and you can have them all animated, not just boring slides. Yeah, and it's working really, really well.
If you've got the local taxi firm and the local fencing company and the whatever, and they're having an advert on there, there's a price point. It might not be £60 a month, but then again, if you're getting £60 a month and you're saying that's achievable, that's terrific. But you imagine if you've only got 4 or 5 businesses and they're paying a tenner a month, that's it's still £50. It's I think I really like it. I think it's super cool. It's something that anyone could do if they've got a queue of customers. Why not have a screen? It's an easy thing to set up.
Takes up very little space, very little electricity, and it's just another income. Like I say, you've got to think of new ideas. You've got to diversify in these tough times. Yeah, it's very tough out there for all shops at the minute. So something like this is come at a very good time,
Being in a family business, I guess you're like an ideas factory. You're always thinking about it. There's no time off. So if you all go out, I don't know, let's say you go for a game of golf or you go out for a curry and you come up with an idea like that, do you have to get it passed by everyone on the board, or do you just say, look, I think this is a good idea, I'm going to run with it for a while, and then once you've proved it, it goes out into other shops? Shane, you want to come, Dad? What are you saying?
The beauty of having a few shops is you haven't got to just sort of jump straight in. We can trial it, So when we launch something, or even our cod specials at lunchtime, let's try this, suck it and see type thing. We can trial it in one shop and see whether it's a success. We haven't just got to dive in, But I think we all on the same wavelength with that. All three of us, So, but we're always, it's what ideas, what other companies are doing, or you could be out, having a pint or something, and you see things, or what other people are. Just like look around. Even for staff, we're always sort of picking people's brains. Or these could be good. Our customer service when you go in somewhere, we're always talking to people, got our eyes open for the next sort of member of staff to join us, whatever, But no, so it's good. We can just trial it in one shop, like like John said about the VIP and things like that, and see what sort of response we get, and if it's successful, then we can spread it across all the shops.
Yeah. So the VIP club, how that come about actually? Got an email one day from a local Indian. That's how that started. Join our VIP club and get 20% off your takeaway tonight. So I thought, you fancy a curry? I said to the missus, you fancy a curry? Yeah, blah, 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 joins the VIP club, 20% off. And straight away I'm thinking, right, okay, I'm onto something here. We could do something like this. And around the same sort of time, my mum and my wife, Charmaine, they absolutely love their bingo. And every now and then they'd get these texts, weekly, Dad, wouldn't it? They'd get a text, the jackpot tonight is blah, 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 Next thing, they're both off the bingo for the night because the jackpot's 10 grand or whatever, It works, and it's something silly like 95% of texts are read in the first 10 seconds, So I tried to sort of pick out a few ideas and put them together as one loyalty scheme. So our VIP club, obviously, the goal of it is to get the customer's mobile number, but they're not just going to hand over the mobile number. You've got to give them something in return. So what I come up with was, 20% off your first visit. You get a loyalty card, they collect the stamps, blah, 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 and I give them a little slip to fill out. And all they put on there is their name, their mobile number, and the month they was born. And on the month they was born, they get a £5 voucher sent out to them on a text. And then once a month, we send out a text, a VIP offer that can only be used Monday to Thursday, just on the quieter days. And I've got over 2,000 VIPs now, and 2,000 VIPs get a text every month with a special offer that's just for them. It makes them feel a bit special,
Lovely.
2,000 just for one shop, that is. I think 2,000 members, John, isn't it?
Obviously tried it there. Now we've rolled it out at Mike's. He's saying it's going really well there. It's all these little things that you need to think of. Stay one step ahead.
Have you tried my Lucky Six roll of dice idea yet?
I told you, didn't I, Mark, the other day?
We have, yes, we have. That's it. Yeah, it's a very good idea.
Yeah, well, I want to bring Sonny in now anyway, if that's okay, because obviously you're doing the digital thing, which is I guess is that a generational thing, Shane? What do you know about the digital stuff before I let Sonny talk about it?
Not a lot. Not a lot. I'm a dinosaur. I'll leave that to the younger. I'll leave that to the younger ones.
Okay,
so,
Sonny. Yeah, talk us through, because obviously you impressed the judges enough to make it into the final for the Digital Marketing Award, and it wasn't your year, but still to make it into the finals, pretty impressive at the first attempt, and you're doing some pretty interesting stuff.
It was good to get there, and it's been a brilliant 18 months for us. All the national stuff started with the Facebook page. J Henry's probably 7-8 years ago, something like that, and obviously starting from zero, it is tough to get it going. You want to get the likes up, get your followers up, and I was just finding boring posts, just writing oh, don't forget cod special today, or oh, don't forget we're open today, doesn't get much sort of traction.
Yeah.
So how can we get people involved on our page? How can we get the likes up? How can we get the followers up? So then I started with a few competitions, tag and share for Valentine's Day. Who you're going to share your Valentine's meal with? Next thing, you've got 20 entries, 30 entries. They're all following your page. Then do a competition for Easter, Easter colouring competition on Facebook. Then one that really sort of shot our page literally within a few weeks, from probably 500 followers to 2,000-3,000 followers, was the football competitions. So every, when England are in the Euros or the World Cup, what I was doing was predict the England score. If you get it right, you win a free meal. So the first round group game, you might get 30 entries, 40 entries. Next thing, there's 200 entries, 250 entries. Obviously, a bit of a ball ache, writing who's got it right. But sometimes you'd give away no meals, and you've got all that publicity going around, people coming in, talking about it, sharing it around.
I used to do that. I used to call it "Be a winner, score your dinner," and it's effective. Really, it is really good. Yeah.
And what we're finding, I think the most meals we might have ever given away might have been 15 to 20, but they've got a free meal. I only used to valid it for 1 month. So they'd come down that Saturday and they bring all their
feed
family
the rest of their family and pay for it.
Yeah. So, speculate to accumulate. It's cost you a couple of quid or whatever, but they've spent 30 or 40 quid anyway. And a lot of the time you're gaining new customers from it. You've never seen them before. They're a new face. They're not from the area, but they've got a free meal to you. So they will come and use it.
So were you boosting these posts by using Business Suite and doing lookalikes and things like that?
We used to, but I think once we gained enough followers and enough likes,
you don't need to.
It was generating enough entries as it was, and it's a bit, when I was boosting them, it was sort of like, blimey, what if we get 2,000 entries? And then all of a sudden, if it's 2-1 and everyone gets it right, what happens then? So you had to be a little bit careful, but
bit twitchy.
And then I was putting a post up with a photo or a video gains a lot more traction, a lot more likes, a lot more views than just writing a boring post. So then doing, a few videos, introducing yourself, I think people like it. It's who you are. They want to know who you are, and it's really good. Yeah, and I put it on there. Happy birthday to this member of staff, whatever. Or I was there. 5-year anniversary. They've been with us. When they leave, do a post like that. They go really good, and I think people like it. It shows we're a genuine family business. You wouldn't see that, I don't think, from McDonald's or whatever.
No, it's a real advantage for independent businesses because the big multiples don't do that kind of posting, do they?
They post, we're genuine, we're honest, and it's all about getting people to your page. I put something up the other day, like build your perfect fish and chip dinner, like fish, a sausage, a cup of tea or whatever, and it gets people commenting, it gets people to your page. Next thing, they're looking at your lunch specials, they're looking at your menu. You just got to do whatever you can, get them on your page. Get involved with local events.
The first time you appeared on my feed, unsolicited, you were asking people what their term was for the batter bits, where they scraps or scribbles or fuck knows what other names people came up with. And I saw it and I thought, oh, he's a good-looking lad. He's doing smart things with his social media, and I didn't recognise you or know who you were when that first came on, and then the next one came on was something to do with Savaloys. I can't remember what it was.
Oh yeah.
And I remember putting a comment on there, and I regretted it, and I put on there, this is on your feed, I put on there,
right?
Oh, we call them dog's cocks in our shop. and I put it on, yeah, that was me, yeah. I put that on your feed because we call them dog sticks behind when the customers aren't around,
Yeah.
Which is completely unprofessional and inappropriate, and I deleted it. I put it on your feed because you may or may not know, but I have got like this vein of mischief that runs through me, and every once in a while, I just can't help myself. It's a sickness, and I apologise for the listener for the terminology. And the way that I just represented Savaloys, but because I know that story might elicit complaints, and if it does, I'm not fucking sorry, not really. It's just a bit of job banter. But if you were offended by that, I apologise for Stelios, because this is his podcast, but that's what we behind closed doors. That's what we call them, and I put that on your feed, and then I got an attack of the guilt, and I deleted it. But I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure if you saw it or not.
No, I didn't see that one.
But you did do a post about Savaloys, didn't you?
Yeah. So it's just so then obviously fast forward a few years, Facebook's going really well. And a few people said to me, "You've got to get on TikTok. It's the next big thing. You've got to get on TikTok." And I was like, oh, bloody hell, it's hard enough running the Facebook page,
Yeah.
Try and do posts, a couple of 2 to 3 a week, say, And I said, well, I don't mind doing it, but I need a bit of help. And I put it on our family group and WhatsApp. And my 2 eldest nieces, Scarlett and Charmaine, they sort of stepped forward. Yeah, we don't mind helping. We'll film it and edit it and all that. So I said, oh, all right, yeah, let's start it. Same thing, you've got to start from scratch. You start from zero.
Absolutely.
Demoralising to start with. You put a video up, it gets 20 views or something like that. But you have to start somewhere. And I just couldn't believe it, how quick, putting a video up. I just think the first one was like, introduce yourself. I'm Sonny, Shane, J. Henry's 1988. They checked it like half an hour later. It was on like 1,000 views or something. I was like, bloody hell, like 1,000 views already.
Epic.
And next thing, there's 2,000 views. The next video, 3,000 views. And then the big one that sort of like really just projected the page was the battered steak bake, which just so happened just by chance, it is. I bought me breakfast in the morning and I didn't end up having it. Steak bake and a coffee. I had my coffee. Steak bake's in the fridge, and it's towards the end of the shift. And I said, I'll batter that steak bake for the TikTok. Next thing, a couple of million views within a couple of days. Greg's
crazy.
I was emailing Greg's are emailing me back about, what a fantastic thing. Thanks for all the extra publicity I've given Greg's. And
like
it was
they
crazy.
Need it.
I know. I know they're like talking about collabs with us, and the next big one, like the what do you call the scraps? That was a few million views across Facebook and TikTok. And it's just really good, and it's quite a bit of fun. Shows you sort of genuine side. We do a bit of behind the scenes stuff. Me and John's done a round of golf on there before. Shows we're normal people as well when outside of fish and chips.
What we get up to out of work.
Yeah. Shane, do you remember when all you had to do was cook some good fish and chips, present it in a nice clean shop, and serve it with a smile? Now there are so many other skills that you have to run a successful fish and chip shop, don't you? You'll have seen the game change over the years.
That's right, definitely. Well, there's so much competition out there now, and then obviously reviews. There's so much out there. It's like you can't sit back and do that anymore. I mean, years ago, back in my early days, it was we didn't bother removing the bones. The bones were still in the fish. This is how I was taught. In the Arthur King days, skin on, bone in, and it worked. But
how many fish did you get? How many portions to a stone did you get back then? Because my dad used to get like 50 bits to a stone, like when he cut the fish.
It was ridiculous.
Yeah,
it was the same with portions of chips. We used to use a little 6x2.5 grease proof, I think they was, and I think it was like 70 odd portions to a sack of taters. But that was them days, and probably the good old days, really, pre VAT. Like you say, you got to be on your game today. It's just you can't sit back on your laurels and do that. There's so much competition. People are keyboard warriors, aren't they? Reviews. And what we've tried to do is like we're big on customer service. Someone leaves our shop and 3 or 4 members of staff might say, I always say thank you, goodbye, but they might get 3 or 4 goodbyes. I've got my staff saying have a nice day, anything. You might be the only people that these elderly people speak to that day. The way supermarkets and banks are going, all the self-service, isn't it? So not just good fish and chips, but clean environment, good fish and chips, and a real good friendly service. That's our winning combination. What works for us.
Yeah, totally. What are you guys frying down in Southampton?
Yeah, 5 shops on rapeseed. Dad's still on palm.
Okay,
he's old school.
That's just the area.
Yeah, the area, and where I'm old school. If it ain't broke, sort of thing. I was ground nut many years ago when I first started, and then in the Jacks days they changed over to palm before I moved down to Southampton. But when I first started, it was ground nut. Then like many years ago.
Yeah,
but
I love groundnut oil, but it's only special on day one. After then it becomes ordinary again, and it's so expensive, and it's so expensive. I train people on palm oil, usually Frymax, to be honest. Get on well with it. But rapeseed oil is very south coast. Cod as well, I suppose, down there.
Yeah, mainly cod. Yeah,
you struggle to give away haddock when you're that far south, don't you?
Well, it's quite popular as haddock is as well. Yeah, but I suppose 70-30 at the minute is the sort of split. 70-30, 70% cod.
What about
both go well?
Rock? Is there a London influence down there? Because obviously rock salmon's very London fish, isn't it? Anyone ask for that?
Tried it in the past.
Or place comes third, I suppose.
We've tried rock in the past as specials and that, but there's not enough London influence, I don't think, for the demand of rock.
Yeah, skate as well. We've tried. Not so good. No. Not very popular at all. I love a bit of skate, but yeah, it just don't seem to go around here. It's your main species is your cod and your haddock.
Yeah. So let's talk about future proofing then, because we can talk just about fish. When everybody knows what's happening with fish, we know that supply is tight. And we know why. It's been well discussed. What are you doing to future proof? You can't. We have to do something with our prices, but we have to do something with our portions and we have to diversify and either make the fish go further or add things to our menus. What is the Lee family policy? What are you doing going forward to sort of get through where we're at right now? Let's say for the next couple of years, and then what are your long-term plans for the future?
Offering different meal options. I think we're probably going to have to maybe look at different species, offering different sizes. One idea we had probably about a year ago now. It was we was doing our cod special, £6.50. I remember saying to Dad, what if we sort of started nicking a little inch off the your fat end? If we angled it, customer's not going to know any different, and then we've got nice fish nuggets. It was something we'd never doing before, and now
increase
they're
your yield.
bloody flying now. So the customer is still getting a nice value £6.50 lunch special. But now, every 4 we've got a nice £5.50 coming in from cod bites. So it's sort of an extra £5.50. They're going really well, go really good on delivery. I think shops maybe that don't offer deliveries or click and collect services. I think as a nation, I think we're getting very lazy and comfortable. We don't want to get off the sofa, or people like the touch of a button want to be able to order their foods. I think that's going to be a way of the future. People want things as simple as possible. We're looking into apps at the moment, our own app, and being able to push notifications. I think that could maybe replace the VIP club going forward. Send notifications out to your client base. Today's specials, letting them know, what you got going on.
Engagement, engaging.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't just open your shop and expect people to just walk in now. You've got to drag them in, haven't you?
And I think it's very important. Go on.
No, I was going to say, going back to the social media, a point I've got written down is where if you look online, I think there's a website or a page that every day is some sort of international special day. That's always something I always sort of put on the page. And you think, how can you incorporate that with fish and chips? But people love it, International Joke Day, and I do that, like share your favourite joke, an extra bonus point if it's fish and chip related, Next thing you've got 100 entries, and they've all been on your page, they've all been looking at your specials, and it just helps, whatever you can do. I'll come up with the funniest fish name, funniest fish name, it gets people on your page, they're clicking on your website, oh God, I forgot they do their lunch specials. Oh God, they do Lucky Six, do they?
Yeah. Well, the good thing is you're all coming at it from your own angles, because you all bring something different to the party. As a family business, you've got that depth of knowledge from Shane and the generational experience, and then you've also got the the digital aspect and also from John Henry, from actually putting in the hours in the shop and coming up with these alternative sources of income. Your future's looking pretty bright. Do you have an idea of where it's going? Is this going to be a generational thing? Do you see the Lee family continuing?
Well, I hope so. Yeah.
Is there interest from the younger ones?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I've got 3 daughters. My eldest 2, they're sort of part-time, doing 3-4 shifts a week. They're very interested in carrying it on. The youngest girl, she comes to work with me on Saturday morning. She's only 9, little Bonnie. I just wanted to mention, about different ideas for the future and in these tough times now. It's very important to push your higher margin items, So, for example, loaded chips, we've started them in a few of the shops, and they're going really well. It's better to take £5.50, £6 off someone with chips and curry sauce, maybe topped with a little bit of grated cheese, and sell them a cod special for £5.50, £6 at lunchtime or something,
Yeah, because you're
and
making
like another little idea. Exactly, yeah. I mean, our cheesy chips, $5.50. Then they might have curry sauce with chips, topped with cheese. And believe it or not, one of our most popular toppings, get this, crispy batter bits. I just tried it for a joke one day on Deliveroo. Batter bits, 50p a portion. Can't stop selling them. And now we're doing loaded chips, curry sauce with batter bits on top. People's paying £6.50, £7 to have chips with curry sauce and batter bits. You work the margin out in that, A little change we done the other day was a lunch special, for example, sausage, chips and a drink, $5.50. And we just added a couple of extra words, sausage, chips and curry sauce or a drink. It's a lot better to give them a pot of curry sauce than a can of Coke. Yeah. So now we get the staff asking, do you want curry sauce? Emphasise the word curry sauce. Do you want curry sauce or a drink? 90% of them now have the curry sauce. So they're taking curry sauces, again, a lot higher margin in that than a can of Pepsi or whatever, or a can of Coke. And just little tweaks like that. It's the bottom line that counts at the end of the day, and all these things. If you're doing 100, 150 specials a week, and now you're using 100 pots of curry instead of 100 cans of drink, it's a big difference. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and it all adds up, doesn't it?
Exactly.
I always like to give my guests on the podcast an opportunity to give shout outs before I wrap things up. There must be people along the way that you want to recognise, or you want to tip your hat to. Maybe it's a good chance to honour your wife Beverly, or your partners, or whatever. I don't know. Maybe they'll never listen to this.
Yeah.
I'm just putting it out there, boys. If they do,
No, we have
definitely.
You better be saying some nice things.
Definitely, behind every good man, there's a good woman, I think they say. So, my wife, been together for over 40 years. So, definitely to her, putting up with me. Obviously, big shout out to Arthur King. Without his help, wouldn't be sitting here now.
Is he still about? I've never met him.
Lovely man. And sort of put me on the map, really.
Is he still about?
He is. He's late 80s. I think he's late 80s. He's a pal of mine, Windsor. Yeah. So big shout out to him. Obviously, my dad was a great help getting the business up and running. Well, I was there to start with. I say he really put his hours in, and without his help, we wouldn't have grown. I don't think the way we would have done. And basically, the boys and all the family members, just a lovely industry.
You must be very proud.
Industry. Very proud, yeah. And none of them sort of pushed into it. It was their choices. And I say none of us have left a school with any sort of... But we're bright, We're business people, we're bright, but we haven't left anything, we've never left with any sort of paper exams and all the rest of it. But we know how to go and earn a living sort of thing, Yeah. But no, it's just that's all I want to say, really. And then the boys can add to that if they want to mention anybody else. But no, and thanks for having us.
Thank my wife as well. I've been married nearly 20 years, and she supported me all through the years with any ideas that I've had. One of them, which was the Lee lifter. I spoke to Stelios at the awards about that as well, the utensil that I created. So support with that. Obviously, support.
I want to fill in a few gaps of that. You can't just introduce something like the Lee lifter, float it out there, and then park it because I'm going to get so many emails like, what's this?
Right. What is the Lee lifter? Right.
Yeah. So just tell the listener what the Lee lifter is. The last 2 minutes of the podcast might be the most life-changing 2 minutes. They've sat through an hour and 20 minutes. Tell them, for goodness sake, what the Lee lifter is.
The Lee lifter, basically, I got so fed up. 16-year-olds coming for a job. You got to teach them how to pick up a piece of fish with a set of tongs. Make sure it's long ways. Make sure you're supporting the whole length of the piece of fish. Every other cod getting broke, or they're being too heavy-handed with it. Trying to squish it in the bag or whatever the packaging might be. So basically, what it was, I had a customer coming in, and he was a metal sort of worker at the college, teaching students welding and all this sort of stuff. So I asked him, I said, "Oh, can you make me some sort of, lifter that I can slide under a piece of fish and lift it out?" He was like, "Yeah, that's fine. Have you got any stainless steel or anything?" And I said, "As it happens, I had some old lids from pans from an old range. I'd kept the lids for some reason. We had them in like our little storage unit. So I'll give him a couple of these stainless steel lids. Next thing, he's cut out these lifters and they work perfectly, but they was a bit of an eyesore,
Yeah.
Not very pretty to look at. Next thing, I saw everyone that come there was like, "Oh, that's a good idea. Can you get him to make me one?" Like me mates who had shops or whatever. "Can you get him to make me one? You get him to make me one?" "Yeah, that's all right." Next thing, I thought, right, I'm on to saying here. I've got to get this made properly. Anyway, I had a lovely one made, all laser cut with all the like little drainage holes in for the oil to drip through, and we had it engraved. That's what I come up with, and we've sold about 250 now to different shops all over the country, and it was quite nice actually at the awards.
Yeah.
Different shops coming up that was up for different awards. Oh, I've sent them one in the post. I've sent them one in the post. You know what I mean? So it was nice, and they've took off really well. And I spoke to Stel at the awards, and hopefully something in the future we're going to work together and start pushing these out. It's early days yet.
Yeah. So I've seen the Lee lifter. For anyone that can't imagine what it's like, if you imagine a chip scoop that's really, really, really long, it's you can slide it straight under a piece. Yeah, slide it under a piece of fish lengthways. And you can just pick up any piece of serious bit of fish without it bending or snapping or breaking.
Is search Lee Lifter on the discussion group on Facebook, and you'll see one of the first things you'll see is my 9-year-old daughter picking up a large cod and putting it into a box.
Yeah. So
with ease,
So listener, the Lee Lifter was invented by this man. People will have seen it. And it'll have disappeared off their feed, and they'll have thought, that was really cool. I haven't got a clue where I can get one from. And by listening to this, you've now reunited them with your product.
Available in 2 sizes.
See, and that could have just stayed buried, couldn't it? And now it's
That's
out.
it. And I would just like to shout out to David Henley. There's a video of him that's going to be uploaded soon, obviously award-winning shop. And he actually bought 3 off of us, and he said it paid for itself in its first night because he was so sick of staff being too heavy-handed with fish and breaking it, and he said it paid for itself in its first night. So he highly recommends them, yeah.
He probably uses that in his nightclub. I don't know. We're digging up. We're digging up old past here. Right, Sonny.
Yeah. Before we move on, I would like to shout out to my mum as well, because she's given me a few good ideas over the years. And there is a quick little story I would like to just mention.
Go on then.
As the years have gone on, we have got into property, and we love the idea of buying a property, doing it up, selling it, renting it out. And it was my mum who actually pointed me in the direction of buying my first little project. It goes right back to when I was 19 years old, and she said, "Oh, I've seen something for sale. I think it might be a good little project for you." Anyway, it was a caravan on like a mobile home on a site.
Yeah.
So drives round there to look at it. I think it was up for 16 grand at the time. It was 16,000, and pulls up there. It was absolutely rotten. I looked at her. I said, "What, you want me to buy that piece of piece of shit sort of thing?" So walks in there like that. Foot goes straight through the floor. All the floor was all rotten. Anyway, ends up going for it. So tidies it up. I love a bit of DIY. I don't mind getting my hands dirty, get stuck into anything. Tidies it up. Ends up selling it a couple of years later, done all right out of it. And from that day on, it just gave me that buzz. Just, I want to do it again. I want to do it again. I want to do it again, And I think it's just important that I'd say thanks to her for giving me that idea and pushing me forward, thinking of other ideas to do,
Yeah, good for you. I'm similar. I like to buy and sell. I do land now instead of property, but I started off doing repossessed properties, buying them off banks, and again our friend David Henley does the same as well. So it's a good little briefcase business, because fish and chips, you've got to be on the coal face at some level, but when you're buying and selling land, you don't have the same cash flow that you have with fish and chips. You park money into something, and at some point you cash out, and depending on how you cash out determines how much money you make. But yeah, I do. I love a bit of property as well. I do.
Yeah, exactly. And it's finding other things to do when to do when you're not in the shop. When you do start slowing down a bit, 2-3 days a week or whatever. What you're going to do on the other days? And I think me, my dad, and Sonny, we're all the same. We can't just sit still. We have to think of different ideas, different little projects, and property's one of them. But no, it's good to keep busy, keep your mind occupied.
I've tried car flirting, but I always lose money on cars. I love cars, but I can't make money at cars.
Yeah, it's tough.
I have, but yeah, it's not easy to make money on cars.
No.
It's really don't do so well with motors. They're a weakness rather than a business for me. Sonny, who would you like to thank? And then we're going to wrap this up. You've got the school run to do.
Yeah, I've got to go and collect my girls. Mum and Dad, thanks for all the help and advice over the years. My wife Danielle, we got 3 kids together now. And all the rest of the family, especially the 2 nieces, Scarlett and Charmaine, they help a lot with the like I said earlier, with the TikToks and filming all them. And we do have to put up with quite a lot of crap as well. It's every day I normally wake up to a horrible message, but you're going to get that. Unfortunately, you get a lot of views. You always get.
There's always.
You grow a thick skin. You grow a thick skin. I've been called a lot of different names, but you sort of. I just keep replying because I just think every time they have to click on and reply to me, they're just watching the video again, so it gets the views up a bit more.
That's a great attitude, mate. I
a lot of people say just ignore them, but I like replying. So one yesterday, he said, "Oh, this is pointless." I can't remember what one it was. Oh, I'd done 10 layers of batter. So I just battered a sausage 10 times and it was like that. And he said, pointless. So I clicked on his profile and he said, in his bio, he said, I'm a lifelong Tottenham fan.
Pointless.
So he replied, pointless. I said, yeah, pointless. Yeah, just like Tottenham's trophy room.
Well, look, my mate Fred's a Tottenham fan, and I think my mate Fred's a really smart guy. So I can't say being a Tottenham fan is pointless.
No, I don't mind Tottenham, but when I see he was a Tottenham fan, I thought, yeah, that's a good comeback for you. Yeah,
you've got to play to your strengths, haven't you?
Yeah, thanks to Fred as well. He's had us down at Shave Fred just before we bought the restaurant, because we thought it'd be a good idea to take our new partner down there. Dean, just because I think Fred's just got it so right there, and we wanted Dean to see he keeps it very simple, don't overcomplicate it, good service, good food, and that's you should be onto a winner. If you get those 2 things right. That was the one shop we wanted to take him to was Fred's. Without a shadow. Yeah. Just
a shout out to Dean there. He's our 3rd partner. He's the partner that's in the New Forest restaurant in Lyndhurst. We ain't mentioned him yet today, but yeah, shout out to Dean Cummins.
Yeah. Shave Fred's the one shop I want to take everyone to. It's a great shop.
Yeah.
And he's a nice guy.
Lovely shop, lovely setup. And you wanted to do a couple more shout outs, John, as well, didn't you? A couple more friends from the industry.
Yeah, only a couple of friends. Yeah, Nick Cullen at Langley's in Nick's at Langley, and a friend of ours who ain't doing too well at the minute, Peter Scott from Scott's Fish and Chips in Windsor. I wish him a speedy recovery. And I hope to see him back on his feet soon.
Brilliant. Okay, guys, look, thank you so much for coming in and sharing your story, sharing your ideas. I know the listener, or we might have 2 by now, will certainly get something out of this. I've enjoyed the time we've spent chatting, and your story's not even half written yet. There's so much more to come. From the Lee family, we'll have to have you back again. I'll see you at the awards next year, I feel, and thanks for coming on.
That's a wrap on today's episode with Mark, Shane, John Henry, and Sonny. I'd love to hear your thoughts. What stood out to you in this episode with this family from J. Henry's? Join the Ceres podcast discussion group on Facebook and keep the conversation going. At Ceres, we're all about supporting your business, whether it's with top quality products or valuable insights. If there's something on your mind, reach out because we'd absolutely love to hear from you. Thanks for listening, and I'll catch you in the next episode.